Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at three really significant global stories, and they all highlight just how connected everything is.
Absolutely.
We'll be focusing on the latest out of the Middle East, then a truly heartbreaking aviation tragedy in India, and also a critical warning about our food future linked to climate change.
Yeah, and it's not just the headlines, right? It's the so what behind them. How these big events, from geopolitics to, well, our daily bread, actually touch all of us. We want to unpack those connections.
Let's start with the Middle East then, because that feels incredibly immediate. Just yesterday, Iran launched this huge barrage, over 400 missiles and drones towards Israel.
A massive number.
And reports mention a really devastating strike on a hospital in Beersheba as part of that. Israel, as expected, retaliated quickly, hitting Iranian nuclear and military sites. This feels different somehow.
It absolutely is different. I mean, the scale and the directness of Iran's response here, that's a major shift. It really redraws the lines in the sand, moving maybe away from proxy conflicts towards direct state-on-state confrontation.
Which is much more dangerous.
Exactly. It's a dangerous escalation. There's a real risk this could spiral into a much wider regional war.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the jitters already, right?
Yeah, the global reaction.
Well, look at oil prices. They jumped across $75 a barrel. Global stock markets are definitely wobbling. It shows how quickly this stuff ripples out.
And the human side, too. The UK is evacuating citizens.
Right. And it raises huge questions about deterrence, about whether the old rules still apply, and, frankly, about potential U.S. involvement if things don't calm down fast. It's a very tense moment.
Okay, so from those geopolitical shockwaves, let's shift focus, sadly, to a different kind of shock. The Air India AI-171 crash in India. Just devastating news.
Truly heartbreaking.
The details are just awful. The plane crashed only 33 seconds after taking off from Ahmedabad. 241 people on board died, plus another 29 on the ground.
And just one survivor, remarkably. It's hard to even comprehend.
So where does the investigation stand now?
Well, the immediate focus is obviously the investigation. They've recovered the black boxes, the flight data recorder, and the cockpit voice recorder. That's critical.
So they have the data, the sound from the cockpit.
Exactly. They have the raw information from those final tragic seconds. The big task now is digging through all that data, looking for any hint of what went wrong, mechanical failure, human error, something else entirely.
And who does that analysis?
That's actually a decision the government needs to make soon, whether to analyze it in India or send the recorders abroad, maybe to the U.S. or France. There are international experts involved already, from the NTSB in the U.S. and from Boeing.
Right, for impartiality and expertise.
Precisely. They expect a preliminary report maybe by mid-July, but for the families waiting for answers, well, it's just an agonizing wait. They need to understand what happened.
Understandable. Okay, let's move to our final topic. It's another warning, but maybe a slower burn, though just as critical: climate change and our food.
Yeah, this one really hits home, quite literally.
There's a powerful new study out, and the headline finding is pretty stark. It suggests that even just 1 degree Celsius of global warming, which might not sound like much, could cut global food availability by about 120 calories per person per day.
And that's a global average, which is startling enough. But think about what that means. It's not just about having slightly less food overall.
Right, it won't be evenly spread.
No way. It highlights how climate change impacts will fall unevenly. Some regions will be hit much harder than others. This could drive new waves of migration, spark conflicts over resources, things that make current geopolitical tensions look, well, maybe less complex in comparison.
And the study looked further ahead too, right?
It did. It projected that even with the best farming technology we have, major agricultural producers like the U.S. could still see yields for key crops drop by as much as 25% by the end of the century.
25%, even with tech advances.
That's what the modeling suggests. So, this isn't some distant sci-fi scenario. It's real. The trajectory is clear, and it's happening now. It really underlines why action on climate is so critical for our food, our environment, our whole future, really. The consequences are already unfolding.
So, bringing it all together, we've talked about conflict zones, aviation tragedies, climate warnings, seemingly separate events.
But they're not, are they?
No, they really show how tightly wound, how interconnected our world is. From those immediate geopolitical flare-ups impacting global markets, to the painstaking work after a disaster, to these long-term threats like climate change affecting something as basic as our food supply. It's all linked. We really hope this deep dive encourages you to stay informed, stay engaged.
And maybe think about this.
Yeah.
Knowing how interconnected these challenges are, the conflicts, the climate shifts, the human impacts, how does understanding that better equip you, personally, to navigate what's coming? And could that knowledge maybe inspire some action, big or small, in your own life? Something to consider.